Hi guys. So I am trying to get set up here. Give me just a moment. There we go. There we go. Okay. So I'm going to give it another minute or so because it's just 9 o'clock now. And I think I just saw myself join in. I want to give everybody else who is going to want to participate a moment. Take some time with Sammy here. For those of you who have not have followed me before, thank you so much for coming back. That was Sammy giving love to the computer. Um, and for those of you who have not been here before, welcome. What I do, and this is not something I do for a living, this is just something I do for fun and love, is I plan very intense, detailed Disney trips. I go every year. I have a timeshare down there, so I've stayed on property. Hello, Mr. Drew, on property or off property, and I like to go. I like to organize my event to the people that I'm taking. And one of the people who I have taken over the years said, "Hey, you do this so much and you personalize it so much. Why don't you talk about how you make these plans, how you set this up?" What you do differently for each of these groups of people. So last week we did a live chat for the thrill seekers, the people who want the really exciting, dramatic things. Today we're going to talk about foodies. These are people who are all about the foods, all about the treats, all about the edibles and imbibables, and they don't really care that much about the roller coasters and the rides. In fact, they may not want the roller coasters at all, but they want the experience of the special foods. So, that being said, we're going to shift gears and we're going to talk about this group. Um, if you have questions, there is and I'm trying to remember, I think it's on this side for you guys, but there's a little chart if you have me on the regular laptop. If you have me on your phone, it's usually below. Or if you turn the phone sideways, you can see the chat going on sort of on the left side of my face. And there you can post your comments, your questions, your thoughts. But we're going to take you through this. Now, what I've done with all of these and what I'm going to try to consistently try to do is make the same length of trip. So we're talking about a 7-day trip. Normally, I mentally am doing this for 2 or 3 people. And let's just kind of go with it. So you're going to fly in as early as you can because why not make the most of your day? I usually like to fly in early rather than fly in late because if you fly in early, you have an entire day to enjoy the parks or the restaurants or whatever experience you're going to have. For me, I can take a really early morning flight and land by 8:30 and be checked into whatever my hotel is or in the parks or whatever by 10:30. So with that concept in mind, the overview for this particular trip, normally I would say you want park hoppers. Normally I would say you want, you're going to do a certain multiple days of passes. But to do the foodie experience without caring about rides, you're going to do a 4-day non-park hopper ticket. That means no park hopper for this one. You're going to do 1 day at Universal. And I'm still not sure whether or not you're going to do tickets. That would be up in the air. And you're going to spend 7 days there. So that's only 5 days in any kind of parks. 4 Disney, 1 Universal, and 2 days that you're not doing the parks at all. It's going to be a much more laid back trip than some of the other ones I've done. I realize that's where you guys are. I have to keep looking at the right spot. So day number 1, touchdown and you land and you get there. Figure if you're going to stay on property at Disney, you're going to check in and do your Magical Express, but you should be able to be headed out into a park by 10:30. Today's day, we're going to go to Hollywood Studios. And the reason I started with Hollywood Studios is the food options are the most limited there. So I've come up with a couple of different, more creative ideas. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to get there. You're going to take your time getting into the park, and I'm giving us a little more leeway, and I'm saying you're not going to get to the park or really into the heart of everything till about 11:15. And the first thing you're going to do is you're going to go into the Hollywood Brown Derby, and you're going to have lunch. And that's going to be an early lunch, so it's not going to be too crowded. It's not going to be tons and tons of people in there yet, so the ambient noise is not going to be too overwhelming. And there you're gonna order lunch, dinner, dessert, appetizer, entree, whatever you want to get. Meal, no parking. Yeah, yeah. This is a very different trip, Drew. As I started looking through stuff, I realized if you're about the food and not about the parks, why are you park hopping? You don't need to jump from place to place to place. So you get to Hollywood Brown Derby, you have your lunch, you enjoy that experience. I generally try to block off, especially for foodies, I block about 2 hours off for a meal. That's so you're not rushed, so you can get multiple courses. Hi, Drew, hi, JD. I'm going to call you JD. I figured that's a nicer way to do it. We got Drew and JD. But you're going to do the park, Hollywood Brown Derby. Take your 2 hours, have a drink, have multiple drinks. They have some lovely cocktails at that particular location, and enjoy that experience. You're going to come out of the Hollywood Brown Derby. It's going to be around 3 o'clock, is what I was guesstimating, 2 to 3 o'clock. I'm going to send you into Toy Story Land, and that's going to be your first fast pass. Yeah, with JD Hauer, so JD. You're going to head over to Toy Story Land, and this is going to be the first thing you fast passed. Whether it's going to be Slinky Dog Dash, which is a family-friendly roller coaster. It does make your stomach do a little bit of jumping, so depending on what your needs are, or Toy Story Midway Mania, or Alien Swirling Saucers, because you can only fast pass one of those three. So depending on your particular preferences, and thank you for the like, whoever did that. Personally, I would do Toy Story Midway Mania. It's a fun little shoot 'em up game, like a video game, a little more interactive, and you're not swishing your stomach up and down, but you'll pick one of those. From there, if the lines are not too bad, you're going to do another ride in that area, see how it pairs out, or chill. You might want to get a snack, but at this point, you're probably still too full. I'm going to recommend that you chill in that area and you come on out at about 5 o'clock. You're going to head over to the Baseline Tap House, and that is, they do flights of beers. They do little tiny snacks. I got a blood orange cider there that was really lovely because I don't do beer. But it's a nice place to kind of chill, hang out, and be in the open area, and you'll enjoy your little snack there. Then you continue to wander over to the Muppets and do Star Tours, because again, at this point, most of your food will have settled. So if you do get motion sickness from Star Tours, it's a little more mild. Muppets, it's going to be a walk-on. You don't want to fast pass that. But Star Tours, you will want to make your second fast pass. So you'll go do that. Then, Star Tours. Oh, and the other place I'm going to recommend that you go to is, again, these are for foodies and people who are not so crazy about the roller coasters. Hello, Sammy. You're going to do the Walt Disney World's One Man's Dream. That's still gone through some shifts, but in there you're going to see models, you're going to see history, you're going to see the desk he wrote on when he was in elementary school, you're going to see the desk he worked on when he was an animator. There may be a meet and greet inside. You may see models of the Tree of Life and some of the castles. It's a whole lot of fun. It's very interesting. So once you do that, you're going to be chilling. You're going to do that from about 6 o'clock till about 8 o'clock. At 8 o'clock, I am going to recommend doing the dessert party for the Star Wars fireworks. And what this means is at 8 o'clock, you meet up with a group of people and you go into a special location. In that special location, you will have sweet and savory desserts, dips, mini desserts, and alcoholic beverages for those who drink, or non-alcoholic for those who don't. Hello, James. Yeah, that's Sammy. You remember Sammy. But it's about an hour and 15 where you get to sit and enjoy open buffet, open bar for all of these items. And they don't give you like every drink in the world. They have a limited item, some specialty drinks, non-alcoholic drinks, but it's all you want to enjoy for that hour or so. So you get sweet, you get savory. So it's not a sit-down meal, but it's a meal experience. And then you're going to go watch the Star Wars fireworks, which, at least at this point of recording, is by far my most favorite fireworks that exist in the parks. Happily Ever After is okay, but and yes, they're all about the projections, but there's something about those Star Wars fireworks that I just am blown away by. Again, that may change over time, but that's where we are right now. So you're going to do that dessert party, and then when you're done with that dessert party and the fireworks, generally that means the park is closed, and I'm going to head you back to your room. So it's a little more leisurely. That would mean you're heading back to your room at 9:30. Now, depending on the resort you are at, there will be bars and restaurants in each of your resorts. If you are still hungry when you get back to your resort, then I'm going to recommend you go to your quick service If you're staying at French Quarter, which is one of my favorites, you can get beignets. If you go to the bar, you can get beignets with alcohol piped into them. If if you're at California, at the Contemporary, you've got the Wave. You've got, I think it's Contempo Cafe, that's got some amazing little cupcakes and desserts, depending on what your body is lacking at that point. Get yourself a light snack at whatever your hotel and resort is, and then crash for the night. That's day one, and that's your Hollywood Studios day. So anything Hollywood Studios you want to experience, that's the time to do it. Again, if it's a foodie person and they don't want the rides, you're going to skip pretty much the entire other side of the park. You're not doing Tower of Terror. You're not doing Rip Roaring Rock and Roller Coaster. You might want to go see the Lightning McQueen show if you've got time. You may want to see Fantasmic if you've got time. But that is absolutely not the priority for this particular group of people. Day two. Going to get you up early. I'm going to recommend either a minivan or an Uber, and you're going to head down to the Animal Kingdom Lodge, unless that's where you're already staying. And there we're going to go to Boma. Boma is a buffet-style restaurant, all kinds of Afrikaan food, and we are going to do breakfast at Boma. Now, this is a place I have not been to, but I've got to tell you, from everybody I talk to, and I ask them for their top picks, Boma and Chico over at Animal Kingdom Lodge are their top of the lines, but Boma's going to be the only one that does breakfast. So I'm going to recommend we do that. So it's going to allow you the traditional breakfast foods, your sausage, your eggs, your Mickey waffles, all those standard things, and then some more unusual foods that are based in the Afrikaan culture, and yummy foods that are stuff you wouldn't necessarily eat. More ideas for future vlogs. The dishes only from the resorts. Yes, yeah, and I could definitely do like a 7 days never going to a park at all, and maybe we'll go to that one as the next one of no parks, just 7 days resort hopping and resort eating and resort experiencing. We got some of that in here, but there's some neat stuff. So breakfast, again, I want to give you 2 hours. So we're going to say breakfast starts you go to breakfast at 9. You don't have to rush and make it a really early breakfast, but we're going to start with that. At 11 o'clock, you're going to head over to Animal Kingdom, and we're going to take you over to Pandora. Again, because you can make your fast passes a little early, this is when you're going to whatever ride of Pandora. You can, again, there are 2, and you can book 1. So you can either have Flights of Passage, or you can have the Navi River Journey. If you want the bigger thrill, you would go to Pandora's Flights of Passage, and it is, like I've said to people, Soarin' on steroids. It's pretty intensive. It's pretty major, but I can close my eyes and survive it. Navi River Journey is your more mellow one, but you're going to do one of those, and you're going to walk around in the Pandora area, enjoy the lights, enjoy, well, not lights yet, but the floating mountains. And while you're there, get yourself one of the drinks at Pangu Pangu. Either the alcoholic or the non-alcoholic beverages. There are both there, and they are boba balls infused with passion fruit juice, and all kinds of unusual flavors. They do these multicolored, unusual-looking drinks. But wander around, chill, take a drink from there. From there, we're going to go for lunch. So we did breakfast from 9 to 11. I'm going to say we kill time and wander around that whole Pandora area. Pictures. If you can do the second ride of whatever it is, more power to you, but kind of relaxing there. And we're going to do lunch at Satuli Canteen. This is a quick service. This is not a sit down, but this is one of the most flavorful and interesting quick services I've ever been to. You get your choice of meat, of chicken, of tofu, or I think there's a fish. It might be a shrimp. Over either the sweet potato hash, or a kale and quinoa salad, or all these different options. You can be incredibly healthy. You can be a little less healthy, but everything is incredibly flavorful and incredibly interesting. And I highly recommend that for a quick service. You can also mobile order, which means before you get there, put together on the My Disney Experience app, these are the things I want to have there. When you walk in the door, put I'm here, and then they make the food for you, and you're saving yourself a lot of time, a whole lot of time for getting what you want. So that's your lunch at about 2. After that, I'm going to recommend either the Animal Kingdom show, the Lion King show, or the Finding Nemo show. So Finding Nemo is 35 minutes. It is human actors with live and monstrously sized puppets telling the movie story of Finding Nemo. Animal Kingdom, Sorry, I keep doing that. Lion Kingdom is a celebration of the Lion Kingdom King, some of the characters, some of the actors, and is much more an experience like a Cirque du Soleil show blended with Disney. You know, the monkeys do acrobatics that are amazing. There are two people in bird outfits that do this beautiful, more aerialist type activity. There's a someone doing fire juggling, fire poi. Is it poi? No, I think it's the sticks. It might be poi. I haven't seen it in a while. But so you've got all of these wonderful experiences. Finish with whatever show you're going to do, and we're going to do an evening safari or end of the day safari, 4:30, when the heat is finally starting to break and the animals start getting active again. They're also starting to get their last meal for the day, so they're moving around a lot more. So you're going to do that end of the day safari. And that will take you about an hour. You should fast pass that one as well. That would be your second major fast pass. Then we're going to head over to the safari. You're going to head back down through Africa, and we're going to head over to Nomad's Lounge. Nomad's Lounge has the gluten-free churros. They also have some lovely other snacks and some really unusual beverages. They have something called the Night Blossom that has both cilantro and coffee syrup in it. And I know that sounds like it wouldn't work, but it does. It's bizarre, but it does. I also had an incredible drink called the Tempting Tigress that had, I believe it was a bourbon-based drink. And again, there are beautiful non-alcoholic beverages there as well. You know, it doesn't have to be about the booze, but they do some really, really, really nice stuff. So you have your drink and you have some kind of a light appetizer, and then you're going to go into Tiffin's for dinner. And Tiffin's is the high-end to credit restaurant there, your signature restaurant. Now, if for some reason you guys are more about characters and doing meet and greets, then instead of doing Tiffin's, I'm going to recommend Tusker House. Tusker House has one of the most amazing piri-piri salmons I have ever had. Not that I've had tons of piri-piri salmon, but it's pretty tremendous. Banana leaf wrapped massive salmon, and they cut pieces off. And because it's a buffet, you have a lot more variety. The other good thing is you get to meet Mickey, Minnie, Donald, and Goofy, and Daisy in safari gear. So very yummy, yummy food. But I would say one direction or the other. And they're both very close to each other in terms of where they are in the parks. Once you finish that, again, give it about 2 hours. You're going to slowly wander back. You're going to look and watch at the projection show on the Tree of Life. And then from there, you're going to head over and do the Rivers of Light show. And that's if you want to do the Rivers of Light show. It's not my favorite thing. I'll be real honest. It's beautiful. There's some nice stuff, but there's something about it that doesn't grab me. And it might be because they took the people out of the show and it's lost a little of that humanity that I loved about the first time I saw it, when you saw these people walking around and doing all kinds of neat things. But it's not as exciting. So my thing would be, you do the Rivers of Light show and then again, go back to your resort, or you could head to Disney Springs, get yourself a drink. If you're still not ready to go to sleep, go and hit the gelato or one of the fast food places and get a snack if you're still hungry. But that's pretty much the end of your second day. All Animal Kingdom till it close out the park, and then just relax. Now, I did not put Dinosaur on there. Now, personally, if I was going on the trip, Dinosaur would be on that list as your third fast pass, but it is not a requirement. Hello, Miss Terry. Oh, okay. Well, it was lovely to see you briefly. Thank you for stopping on in. Check back on this one. This is our foodie show this time. This is all about if someone doesn't care about roller coasters and really wants the food. But that's day 2. So day 2 was Animal Kingdom, and that was it. And it usually closes, it opens a little earlier and it closes a little earlier. Now, if you wanted more time in the parks, thank you. Yeah, it is pretty yummy. It was good to see you, Terry. We'll see you next week. If you want to get more time in the park, if you decide there are more things you want to do there, like the conservation station, which is reopening soon, or if you want to do one of the animal walks and see the baby tigers or the baby, or just any of the other animals or any of the other things like that, then do your breakfast at Boma earlier. I believe they will start, I think they start as early as 7 or 8 o'clock. So you've got that option. Day 3. I've done this day. I love this day. You can sleep in some, but you're not going to sleep in a ton. In the morning, you're going to get up and you're going to take a minivan or an Uber or do a little extra transferring to the Magic Kingdom and then back to a resort. You're going to go to the Grand Floridian. You're going to go to the spa. And you're going to get a spa treatment in the morning. And then around noon or 1 o'clock, when your spa treatment is done, you're going to get dressed and you're going to head over to the Grand Tea Room at the Grand Floridian, and you're going to have an afternoon tea. They do gluten-free versions of this. They do regular versions of it, and you can get the standard tea. Is the first course is cheeses and finger sandwiches, I believe it is. No, the first course is fruits and clotted cream, apricot jam, and lemon curd that can be spread on scones or on, for me, they had a gluten-free banana bread, but desserts and cheeses and fruits. The next course is going to be sandwiches, finger sandwiches. They do a curried chicken salad that is quite yummy. They and then the third course is a dessert. It's either a trifle that is seasonal, or berries with strawberries with cream, or macaroons, not macarons, but macaroons, the coconutty ones, and chocolate dipped strawberries on a platter, and sort of like little mini desserts. And then all of this comes with a pot of your choice of tea. And if you want to upgrade, you can add champagne. If you want to upgrade even more, you can add caviar. If you want to upgrade a little bit less, but still upgrade, there's another platter of exotic fruits and cheeses that they used to have. I do not recommend getting the exotic fruits and cheeses off season, like in the winter, because they were bland and yucky. But other times of year, the cheese was great. They had a sage cheddar that was just tremendous. So you do the tea, and the tea can take 2 hours, maybe a little more, but whatever time you want that to be. Then you're going to walk back across the parking lot over to the spa at the Grand Floridian, and you're going to get another treatment. Now, the last time we did this, we did facials in the first treatment, and we did massages for the second treatment. And after you're done that, there's a steam room you can sit in. There's little whirlpools in there, not a wide variety. It is not one of the best to kind of just lounge and chill in, but it's not bad. And then when you are done, you would leave that one and go get changed, because remember, you can bring everything with you, and you get a locker in there because you're there for the day. So you get changed, you get dressed up, and then you're going to go to the Grand Floridian to Victoria and Albert's. Remember, we said this is the foodie experience, and this is a no holds barred, cost doesn't matter experience. Right now, the 10-course meal is $235 for one person with just tea, coffee, water. If you want to upgrade, you can get wine pairings, and that's another $110. Wait a minute. $135 more, I believe it is. And then you have 10 courses, mini courses with wine pairings. It is a 4-hour meal. It is an extraordinary experience, but you have to be someone who's got an open palate, who wants to try different things. I highly remind you or recommend that you get either the coffee or the tea toward the end of your meal, so that you can watch the science happen at your table, because, oh my God, it's so much fun. And I'll leave it at that. You can also, this is Sammy stealing the scene because she is so beautiful. Yes, Sammy. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Yes. Happy kitten. Yeah, so that would be, and that meal, they only do an early sitting, and it's usually about, I think they do like a 6 o'clock or a 7 o'clock sitting. Hello. Yes, science is very good, Mr. William. But you enjoy that meal, and then go back to your room and chill. You will be stuffed to the gills. You will be dressed very nicely, so you don't necessarily want to do, much more than that right then. But it is a once in a lifetime kind of exceptional experience kind of day. Now, if you have brought your own car, I'm going to recommend you take your stuff back to your car. The only concern I have with this whole setup that I've talked about is that change of clothes to dress up, because Victoria and Albert's, you cannot wear your resort wear, your general resort wear. Ladies have to be in a nice pantsuit or a dress. Men have to be in a jacket and dress pants. Does not have to be tie, but has to be jacket. So that is day 3. You have not gone to the park at all. Not at all. Now, if money is an object, money is something that you're worried about, and you don't want to go quite so splurgy, then my recommendation is going to be, instead of doing the spas and the Victoria and Albert's, is to still do the tea, but to do a bit of monorail hopping. So you do your tea, and then you're going to head over to the Polynesian. You're going to do Trader Sam's. You're going to do Tambu Lounge, which opens earlier in the day. And you're going to do snacks and drinks, basically, at all of these different places. Then you're going to, after you leave there, well, yeah, because you can't do the Grand Floridian stuff until after 4, most of those. Then you're going to hit Misner's, and you're going to hit Citricos, and you're going to hit Narcoosseous. And I hope you all are enjoying the kitten, the attractive catness. Just chill, baby. Okay. But you're going to end, if you're going to do that, then you're going to end over at the California Grill. And California Grill, you can do the wave, you can do the Pacific Rim and do the drink around the monorail. But you want to end up with dinner around 9 o'clock or a little bit earlier over at the California Grill, so that you can watch the fireworks. You will be sitting. They will turn the lights down. They will add the music up, and you will have a beautiful view of the fireworks and the show. And while I know some people on this list did not like California Grill, most people I talked to, it is their top of the line restaurant. So again, what one person adores, other people may not like, just as an FYI. So day 4, you're going to get up, and we're going to go and start over at Epcot. This is your Epcot day. And we're going to start at Garden Grill. And Garden Grill is a more traditional breakfast. It's another meet and greet. You meet Mickey and Chip and Dale, and you go into the Land Pavilion. And if you do this early enough, you can go into the Land Pavilion before the park opens, which allows you to cut a line or two or get very close to the front of lines if you finish right before the park finishes being open. But it's going to be your traditional breakfast foods. But everyone I know who has gone to Garden Grill raves about the food, absolutely loves the food. So there you go. We're going to recommend that one as one of your breakfast options. Surprised to have. Okay. Well, thank you so much, Mr. Drew. I'm sorry you can't stay for the whole time, but it was lovely having you here. And yeah, and again, if people have questions about stuff, please feel free to just drop on in and ask the questions, and we'll do what we can to answer them. So what did we say? We are on Epcot Day. So yeah, so we're going to do the Garden Grill. And then when you leave the Garden Grill, we're going to take you into Soarin', and then we're going to go into Living with the Land. After we leave Living with the Land, we will have pre-booked. What do we got? It's not as impressed by the options I was back when the resorts were visualized. I've actually been kind of surprised over the last couple of years. The food's been getting better and better. They've been upping their game. Not all of them, but they've definitely been upping their game. So we are going to do the Living with the Land. And when we leave Living with the Land, we will have pre-booked a tour for Behind the Seeds. And Behind the Seeds is a walking tour, 1-hour walking tour. You learn how they grow all of the food that is in Living with the Land, all of the plant life there. You learn how they use the fish, how they grow the plants, and you can wave at the boats from Living with the Land as they're walking by, which is one of my favorite things to do. They give you a piece of hydroponically grown cucumber, and it's just a neat experience, informational and not too taxing in terms of a tour. And it's only like $25 a person. It's really inexpensive, so it's a nice experience. From there, you're going to head out and you can do your next fast pass, which is going to be Spaceship Earth, which is the big globe. And you're going to enjoy Spaceship Earth just because it's iconic, and they're about to close it for 2 years. They are doing some massive refurbs and changing up some of the history in there. So when they close it, who knows how long it's going to take. Then we're going to do Walking Around the Countries. And I'm going to recommend for this particular version, starting over in Canada, as I like to call it, and doing Canada around to Mexico as your walk. Either way works, but because of my options or what I'm thinking of dinner-wise, that's the direction I'm going to recommend. And you're going to stop in the countries and the little stands, and you're going to try drinks, and you're going to try food, and you're just going to experiment. There are so many amazing things. I highly recommend going into the back of France to the ice cream shop and getting a Macron sandwich filled with ice cream and getting their seasonal one. I'm going to recommend going to, where else am I going to recommend we go to? Well, Italy, I love the wines. They also have some good chocolates. You could go to the pizza at Italy and try some of the real Italian pizza, or even go to Tutto Gusto, which is their little sit-down specialty kind of uh, wine bar. It's a nice, quiet wine bar. I'm gonna say go and get the Grand Marnier slushy in France. I'm gonna say go get the sushi at the little sushi bar up in Hello Dreamscape. Yes, Nom 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 is a very good pizza. Um, Go up to Japan to the little sushi bar, not the big fancy restaurant, but the little mini sushi bar. Now, the caveat of this is I'm not scheduling this during any particular season, but if you go in the spring from about now, I believe it is, through May, that's Flower and Garden. August 29th through November, early November, or no, late November is Food and Wine. Holiday Kitchens around the world starts that 1 month of November to December. And Festival of the Arts is in January and February. If you were there for any one of those, your options for exploring food and wine become even more exciting. Lots and lots of interesting things you can do. And I highly recommend just trying stuff. Learn what you can in advance of what the different booths have, so you don't gorge on one and then find out, oh, I really wanted to try that thing. I'm a lot more limited because I'm gluten-free, so I can't do a lot of the really fun and exciting foods, but it allows me to know where I can stop and what I can have, and there's some very yummy options that are available to me. So we're going to do that whole walk around. You've got hours and hours to do this, and then you're going to finish up your evening. Now, depending on the level of foodie and the level of expense, I'm going to recommend the Hacienda, which is out on the water. Some people recently have said they've had some bad experiences there, but I've always had good food and good experiences there. Another place to watch the illumination fireworks while they still exist, before they are changed out. The other option is, if you want high-end food, but you're not as concerned about the fireworks, I pronounced it Monsieur Paul, but other people are saying Monsieur Paul. It is Monsieur. I thought that was still Monsieur, but I must be wrong, because if it's just me mispronouncing it, I'm sorry. But the food there is lovely. It's high-end French. I recommend it much more over Chefs de France, which is below it. All of the food is good, but some of the food at those restaurants is better than others. And it's going to be what your personal preferences are ethnicity-wise. But I have always had extraordinarily interesting food at the Hacienda. I had some very, very high-end foodie experience type meals over at Monsieur Paul. Teppan Edo would be the other one that's kind of a fun experience, and that's the flippy Japanese food. I like to call it flippy, the teppanyaki. But so you're basically going to wander and then have your dinner. And then hopefully it's going to be one of the places where you can actually see the fireworks and experience the fireworks as you finish your meal. And then meandering back to your hotel again. If your hotel has a bar, has something, then you have any room left, go ahead. Otherwise, that's going to be the end of that day. The next day is going to be our Magic Kingdom day. Now, I am mentally planning this as if this were on a Sunday. Because California Grill offers a brunch on Sundays. And if you have not done the California Grill dinner version of the tour, and as a side note, if you didn't want to do California Grill to watch the fireworks and do your drinking around the monorail ending there, your other option would be to end up in Narcoosseous, which is on the water over by the Grand Floridian, and you can also get a lovely view there, and they pipe the music in. Just realize that if you're sitting at your table, everyone's going to walk out in front of your window and stand in front of you, so you still have to get out and walk outside to be able to enjoy those fireworks. But so now is our Magic Kingdom day. So we're going to get into the parks in the morning and pick a couple rides that you want to just walk on. So you're getting there at rope drop to do 1 or 2 rides. This is not going to be Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, but it might be Jungle Cruise. It might be Haunted Mansion. It might be, if you do want to do a roller coaster, Thunder Mountain or Splash Mountain. Probably not Splash Mountain because of the water level. Pirates Jungle Cruise, but an experience or two on that side of the park. And then you're going to head out and you're going to walk over to the Contemporary because it is walking distance. Now, if you have a reason where you can't walk, then yes, you can do the resort monorail and take the resort monorail around and go to the Contemporary there. Then we're going to have brunch at the California Grill. Now, if you don't want to spend, now this is a more expensive brunch. If you don't want to go quite so expensive, they also supposedly do a very lovely breakfast over at the Wave. But the more unusual stuff where you're going to have sushi is going to be up in the California Grill as one of your options for the meal. Pardon me, something just popped on my screen, which I had to get rid of. So we're going to leave there. And you're going to, at this point, you didn't fast pass stuff in the morning for Magic Kingdom. You're going to fast pass for stuff afterwards. So the brunch starts at 10. So I would say we do a 10 to about noon. You could potentially go longer, but I'm going to say till about noon. While you're drinking all your mimosas that come with the brunch, please make sure to be drinking water as well. Because if you're in Florida and it's summer, don't dehydrate. Please don't pass out. It just ruins your day. So there, I'm going to say you get to the other side and you're going to do Buzz Lightyear, or you're going to do Peter Pan or the PhilharMagic as the things you're probably going to fast pass. They're not high end, high crazy end. Walk onto the People Mover. Yeah, and that's what I was hearing. It's the Wave does have a nice basic buffet. It's not super fancy, but it's a nice one. But we're going to do, maybe a meet and greet. But you're going to do things that are you're going to fast pass 3 things that are harder to get into, and you're going to do some walk-ons. The other thing, if you just want some chill experiences, walk over to Tom Sawyer. Well, not walk. Take a boat over to Tom Sawyer Island and see what that's all about. Caves and places to explore and all kinds of neat things to see, but very peaceful, very relaxing. Then we're going to try to do dinner at Skipper Canteen. Now, depending on your particular preferences for food, if you're more traditional stick to your ribs type stuff, you're going to do Liberty Tree Tavern, which is Thanksgiving dinner every day. And it's supposed to be very, very good. I've had lunch at Liberty Tree, and I got an incredible salad. No, I got the pot roast, and I think my friend got a salad when we did this. And really lovely, lovely food. But again, more traditional Americana stick to your rib stuff. If you want something that's a little more food imaginative, more interesting, then you're going to go to Jungle Skipper Canteen, where you can have an entire whole fried fish, where you can have hot and sour soup, where you can have a fried chicken that is gluten-free, where you can have these little corn cakes covered with roast pork. There's more unusual, more interesting options, more ethnic-y options, both Latin American and Asian, and nothing really African, but like they have curries and things like Thai curries and things like that. So I'm going to recommend that. Then after dinner, again, finish out the night, the People Mover, the Astro Orbiter, not the crazy roller coasters, unless that's something you do want to throw one in for. And if you can get Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, then yeah, that would be a nice thing to do. But again, take your time with the meal. And then fireworks. There are a few places you can watch the fireworks. You can try to stand in the hub with the crowd. I like to stand, if you don't need to see the projections, I recommend standing in the street behind, closer over towards Small World, or if you can get there, on the bridge between Be Our Guest and the rest of the park. Because fireworks happen behind Be Our Guest, and then fireworks happen at Cinderella's Castle. And if you are standing there, you're getting this kind of 360 experience of fireworks everywhere you turn, and it's a really cool experience. I highly recommend it. After the fireworks are done, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, depending on when they shut the park down. Pardon me, I'm going to try not to sneeze. Then you're going to head back to your room. And again, if you want to hit some restaurant, etc. there, then chill and do the night. Now we're on day 6. This is your one day at Universal. Remember, we said you're about food experiences. You're not about rides. Universal is more about the rides and the thrills. So if you don't care about that, I don't recommend it, other than to say, yes, you want to go and you want to try the butterbeer and you want to try the things. So you may or may not want to do a ticket for this one. I'm going to recommend that you get up. And if we do it, I'm recommending a one-day park-to-park ticket. I'm going to say we go over and you do go into the Islands of Adventure area. I like the Raptor Encounter. It's still one of my absolute favorites, and I will never tell people not to do it. It's really a photo op, but it's hysterical. Or do a water ride if it's warm enough, which is either Dudley Do Right or Jurassic Park's ride, or Bluto and Popeye's Bilgewater Rats, which is my favorite. You'll get sopping wet. Yeah, wear a poncho. You're still going to get wet, but you will be functional at that point. And make sure you have shoes that you can wear on there that will not be wet and rubbing against your feet, causing blisters. Then once you finish those rides on that side, follow it around, go over to Harry Potter's area, try butterbeer. There are 5 types of butterbeer: frozen, regular like soda, ice cream, potted, and fudge. And hot. So there's actually 6. I lied. There's 6. The hot butterbeer only comes out in the winter months, so you may or may not be able to get a chance to try that. But the others are good in different varying amounts. Do the ones that you feel best with. Once you've gone through there, you've gotten something from there, you're going to wander through and do either a Seuss ride or do single rider over at Spider-Man, but do a singular ride, something else that's kind of fun. And then we're going to head out and we're going to go out to Cowfish. And Cowfish is actually a chain. There's not a ton of them, but they are around some other places. And they do sushi and burgers. And sushi made out of burgers. They do some really nice, unusual drinks and cocktails. They also do a bacon coleslaw that's pretty tasty. They do, like I said, the burger-style sushi and straight burgers. The food is good, but it has at least some unusual characters in it, whereas most of the other places you're going to find there are not as unusual. They just aren't, unfortunately. On your way out of having lunch there, I am going to recommend, what do we do here? I'm going to recommend that you head over after Cowfish. You head over to Voodoo Donuts. Get your dessert at Voodoo Donuts. The lines can get really crazy, but if you can get or get there really early and make that your breakfast, Voodoo Donuts. They have some really unusual flavors and really unusual types of donuts, and it comes highly recommended. You're going to head in that point to the actually, personally, I would go back into the same park you were in and train over to the other park. There you're going to be able to do the Harry Potter stuff and that side, maybe Men in Black, 1 or 2 other experiences, whatever you feel like you have time for. And then we're going to take another break. Now, here's my only caveat. Mythos is the other one in park I would recommend that you go to. It's good. It's basic. It's good. It's got some unusual things. They had a lamb burger that was pretty tasty. It is unbelievably cold. I can't even begin to tell you, even on the days where it was cool enough outside or when it was hot outside, it's a refrigerator in that restaurant. Just telling you, bring a jacket for your own sanity. Otherwise, if you have the time and the leeway, I am going to recommend that instead of staying at the park, if food, money is no option, is to either head over to the Lowe's Pacific and try Emerald's Chop Chop, where you can, they have a burrata oven, which cooks things at 1,000 degrees really fast, or go the other direction and go to the Hard Rock Hotel and go to the Palm, which is a steakhouse. Again, it's not going to be cheap, and they're going to charge you for every side. They're going to charge you for everything that goes along with your meal, but it's very tasty. From everything that I've heard, it is one of the high-end restaurants there. You can then come back after having dinner, and the last thing I'm going to recommend that you do before you leave is to head over to Toothsome. Notice I did not have Toothsome on the menu for food. You can go for dessert or drinks, because the alcoholic chocolate-themed beverages are insanely good. And the desserts and the shakes are pretty impressive. The first time I went there, I would have said, absolutely go there for the food. Oh my God, the Brussels sprouts were amazing. Oh my God, this was great. That was great. I have been very disappointed with the food I've gotten there and the service I've gotten there the last couple times. So while the lady walking around and her cohort are entertaining, while the drinks are amazing, and while the desserts are very, very tasty, I can't recommend them for a meal per se right now. So just throwing that out there for you guys. But yeah, definitely go there for a drink. Definitely go there for a drink. Oh, thank you, Randy. All right, so now we have a new subscriber. Yay! So now we're going to go to the last day. And the last day for this one, because it's a little more up in the air of when and where, try to fly out as late as you possibly can to give yourself the most options. But we're going to go hit Disney Springs. And Disney Springs means, food-wise, it's sort of a laid-back free-for-all. You could make a reservation for any of the places that I'm going to mention. You don't have to make a reservation. Some of them do fast food. Some of them, they should have bars you can sit at. Places that you should wander and look at there. Oh, actually, I take that back. You're going to get there at 9 o'clock in the morning, because Amarette's Patisserie has a class on how to make one of those Mickey cakes, the little half-dome Mickey cakes. And you can learn and make your own Mickey cake. You need at least 2 people in the class. At least that's what it says on the reservation stuff. It's not cheap, but you basically make and take home your own Mickey cake, which, granted, now you have to walk around with, but you could just eat it or share it or whatever. But that's a really cool kind of foodie experience, is to understand how to make that particularly designed fancy cake. After you finish that, then you're going to start wandering around. So now you're looking at Jaleo, which is the new restaurant, the Spanish tapas, Iberian ham, all kinds of really fancy Spanish foods. It is, from all accounts, incredibly expensive, but it is, people have said really, really lovely things about the quality of the food. It's the question is it worth it financially? But the food is exceptional, with very, very, a couple of things where people go, meh, but generally it's amazing. Morimoto Asia, who, if you do this earlier in the trip and you want to do one of the other days where you leave earlier from the parks, if you want to do one of those as your final day, then Morimoto does after hours. And this is the only caveat with this one, is a lot of these places actually do after hours type stuff. 10 o'clock at the Edison becomes adults only, for those of you who want to do that kind of more adult experience. And they have entertainment there, but it's an adult only experience. Like I said, Morimoto, they have a specialty bar after 10 o'clock. It's like a secret bar where you can kind of hide and see and look through stuff. Frontera Cocina, which is Rick Bayless's restaurant. So that's going to be your true Mexican food, and really high-end Mexican food. The Edison, as I said, which is that steampunk theme, have extraordinary cocktail options and other information. If you like other food, Raglan Road, if you like the Irish kind of pub fare, they do gluten-free fish and chips, which I'm excited about. But they do fish and chips and bangers and mashed and the more traditional Irish foods. But it's not something you necessarily find everywhere else. So it is kind of nice to do as a special experience. Wine Bar George, who now has a Sunday brunch. So you could do the patisserie thing and then go to Wine Bar George and do a brunch. It's just about to start being offered. They have Dole Whip Froscatos, which is vodka, Prosecco, and Dole Whip. I may have to try one. And you can get those at the fast food counter. They have like a little basket area that you can get fast food stuff from. The Homecoming, which Art Smith also does kind of like a breakfasty, brunchy kind of stuff. And that's going to be Florida, farm to table, stick to your ribs kind of stuff. They do fried green tomatoes. They do pimento cheese. They do hummingbird cake and moonshine cake and things that are all very much based off of the local cuisine. He's going back to his roots for that. Nope, not that one. And then also at some point during that day, head over to Jock Lindsay's Hangar Bar and have a lovely drink, or you can do a snack. But generally, I would say go for a nice drink. They do alcoholic and non-alcoholic drinks that are both lovely. If you are a seafood person, head over to the Boathouse. I will tell you that my experience there was not great, but everybody else that I see who talks about it being the best experience and the best food and the best service. But it's going to be a basically wander about, go to the ganachery and get some really, really expensive chocolate. Go to the gelato store, go to Sprinkles and go to the ATM to get a cupcake, because ATM cupcake. Oh my God. Or if you have allergens, head over to Erin McKenna's and get your gluten-free, vegan, allergen-free, mostly, baked goods. I cannot eat anything that is not from the chocolate brownie base because unfortunately they use chickpea flour and I'm allergic to chickpeas. So for every other allergen except for nuts, they're the go-to place for that kind of stuff. There's a gelato shop. There's a place you can get Dole Whip there in the area, and I think they do the Dole Whip rum floats there as well. Wander, or if you want something more traditional, the Earl of Sandwich makes a sandwich that is Thanksgiving on the bread, like turkey stuffing and cranberry sauce on the bread. It might only be done seasonally, but it is one of those sandwiches that everyone really loves and raves about. I think, well, that's 7 days. That's where I would take these people on a 7-day foodie only experience. So the question or I should say at this point is, do you have questions? There are things that I would look at potentially switching around, and they would change based on the specific people. Do they really want that high-end African experience? Which I would go to Jico. If they, really, really love seafood, I was told Cape May, you can have like all you can eat snow crab legs, I believe. But it's going to change and it's going to vary based on the particular interests of those people. So at this point, I've really gone through, we're almost at an hour. I've gone through all the stuff I was going to talk about, or the kind of flow of those days that I would recommend for those people. Do you have questions? Do you have recommendations? Do you have things that you would want to tell people they would want to do or they need to do? This is the time to throw that on out there so I can, so get the word out. Also, if there's another type of person you want to find out how I would plan for next, what ones do you want to hear? Like I said, we've done the thrill seekers. Now we've done the foodies who don't care about the rides. So what's the next option? We can do people with kids. We can do people with teens. We can do adults only. We can do a classic ride person who only wants the classics and the traditional stuff. Or that's their soft spot is the, what existed way back when, or the people who want the history and are interested in tours, or the people who want to try just new experiences. So if there's a specific group that you're curious as to where I would direct those people to go, how I would organize their tours, let me know. And throw that up here in the comments, or you can put it on the comments underneath. If you have not already done so and you have enjoyed the conversation today, you've learned something from the conversation today, please go ahead and hit the like button. If you're watching this now or after the fact and you are learning the experience, go ahead and subscribe and you'll know when I do these. I'm starting to kind of get a consistent Saturday night thing, and it may change at some point during the year, but this gives you an option of an idea of when I tend to do these. Does anyone have any questions, any thoughts, any ideas? Because I do see there are a couple people left, but I don't know. I'm assuming it's Julie. I don't know, or it could be Dreamscape. So if you're still there, type something and let me know what you would want to hear next, or what you're curious about next. I don't know. What would I plan for a romantic vacation? I'm not quite sure. I'd have to really think about that. What would be that romantic trip? What are those plans? So I think we're we're about 50, just about 54 minutes. So if no one has any other questions or comments, I think we're going to call it a night. But I thank you guys for all of the things you have been saying. I see we've got, suddenly I have more people. I'm actually getting ready to finish up for the evening, but if you guys are curious about how I would plan a trip for somebody specific in the future, again, let me know what type of group you would be interested to see, how I would plot and plan for, what I would schedule, and we will take it from there. Again, throw the comment in the comments if you've enjoyed. Throw a like up on this. It helps people see when I do stuff. And I hope you guys are having a great night. Thank you so much, and we'll do more Disney soon. Oh, that's right. And I don't have a tagline.